Hello there friends, Mystery here, and today we're going sneaky deaky like with Infiltrate Veteran. That's right, Infiltrate Vet. Got buffs in this patch, and we've got a build here today that's going to synergize with all that. Keep us super utility focused, super mobile. We can pump damage, we can rescue allies. Really everything you need to do to clutch a game. Now I have to put a caveat here at the beginning. I fully believe this build can be run all the way up until Havoc 40. However, if you are trying to get yourself invited to groups, if you're trying not to grief your groups as a veteran, I still would much more recommend just sticking with Shout, because Shout gives other players a buff, right? It gives them the ability to stay alive, and that is going to win you more games in Havoc, because Havoc is very, very brutal. This build is very competent, but you have to be a competent player in order to perform on it, rather than just kind of being a buff bot for your team like Veteran Shout can do for you. So if you're playing on Auric or Expeditions, yeah, hell yeah, play this build all day. If you're playing on Havoc, assess your own skill level and say, yes, I can provide utility to my team with this. I will be a worthwhile inclusion of the team. If not, if you feel like you'd rather have Shout, well then maybe a different build. But either way, check it out here if it seems like it's up your alley, and also subscribe so you can get more builds. Let's start here with the range weapon, or the weapons in general. The melee weapon here is the combat blade, and before you ask, yes, I picked these weapons very deliberately. No, you may not swap them out for anything else if you're running this build. The build uses these two weapons for a purpose, you'll see. Combat blade, lacerate and uncanny strike, and unyielding carapace on the perks, low mobility. Why? Lacerate is very, very important here. Lacerate plus our serrated bleed talent here gives us 6 stacks of bleed on a light attack, which means that when we have a target like this, oops, he had no health, but a target like this, Jesus Christ. Can I not get a crit? Yeah, there we go. A target like that just dies, right? 2 attacks, 2 light attacks to the leg is all it takes to kill this guy. In fact, like 2, if I get, yeah, like look at that, right? Crazy damage out of 2 light attacks. And this obviously works very, very well on hordes too, because 6 stacks of bleed is a lot of damage. Now, the other thing we have on here is uncanny strike. That's because when we have a boss or, a crusher like this, you see how the max stacks of bleed is like doing like 116? Well, what if I just start to hit him in the head after that? Now we're doing 409 damage per tick, right? And that's without even maximal rending on our weapon. So yeah, we more than triple our bleed stacks because we are getting some headshots. And this also works on bosses, as you'll see in a little bit when we talk about our boss damage. Unyielding and carapace are our types of perks on there, because that is going to be the types of targets that don't die in like literally like 1 or 2 attacks from our light attacks, right? So yeah, everything else is just going to fall over dead. And then for the big guys, we want to pull out some extra damage on the perks. For our range weapon here, Recon Lasgun. Critical strike chance and unyielding enemies. You can minimize collateral, you can minimize stability. It doesn't really matter. Just damage, ammo, and mobility are the ones that are important here. The increased damage to unyielding here is so that we can put extra damage into bosses, because they are large targets that take a lot of damage from recon, and that's specifically why we want to bring this, is because we're going to be using the Infernus Blessing, and we're going to be pumping our bleed stacks and pumping our fire stacks to the maximum. This also works in conjunction with our second blessing here, Dum Dum, because Dum Dum increases your damage to all close range attacks as well, or to just all damage done within close range. So when I have bleed stacks on an enemy like this, right? It's like this guy's bleeding, he's doing 162, but if I shoot this guy, you see how the damage numbers just went up? That's because having Dum Dum active as a blessing on your gun is going to increase all damage done within close range by 30%. It's actually about 25% in practice, but by that much while the buff is active. So we can get our bleed stacks up on this guy, and then we can get our burn stacks up, and we start to see those numbers go way, way up, because that Dum Dum effect is implying to not only our direct damage, but our burns and bleeds as well. So we're multiplying our damage up by using Dum Dum here. Super powerful. And by the way, close range is like this far. So you'll see that like I'm still getting the maximal numbers out here, and when I get a little bit closer, like this is the absolute maximum. But back here, I still get a boost. I'm still getting a boost over the normal value by having that Dum Dum blessing on. So very, very important to have that. And that is the miracle of the Recon Lasgun Mark 12, is it applies 12 shots, or sorry, 20 shots per second, so we can very easily, within a quarter of a second, stack Dum Dum, and we have a very high chance of getting Inferno stacked up as well. Let's go on to our Curios here. We've got triple toughness Curios. We are actually a very defensive build. I'm running revive speed in all three. Again, we are a clutch maker here. We're going to be able to get the reses off. We need combat ability regeneration in all three. The third one is your choice. I would probably run something like stamina regeneration. Now, on the talent side of things, this is where it all starts to come together. You're going to see that the focus of the build is getting the maximal amount of different damage stacking mechanisms and making them all tick at the same time to increase our damage numbers to something really, really silly. We are going to be using Out for Blood and Confirm Kill here at the top. Confirm Kill, really easy to get, all right? All you got to do is like just a single target. That guy's dead. Right, that counts. That just gave me my confirmed kill. So yeah, that guy is going to give us the toughness over time. Any specials, like specials are just super vulnerable to Recon Lasgun and Inferno stacks in general, especially with focus target on them. So these guys are just dead in no time. Out for Blood gets both an extra 5% from all of those kills, plus 5% from any other kill that we get. So all those bleed kills that we're going to get from meleeing hordes, because, you know, as you might expect, 6 stacks of bleed on these guys, they're just dead, right? From those sorts of damages, and light attacks as well. These guys are just going to fall down all around us, no problem. So we're going to cut through a bunch of those enemies, and we're going to get 5% from all of them. One motion is here to allow us to quick swap between guns. What we really want is to be able to have a boss like this, get them stacked up on burn, swap to our melee, stack up on burn, swap to our melee, back and forth. And once you have all that stacked up all together at the same time and just keep refreshing very quickly, you're going to maximize your damage. So that's the way you'll fight bosses, and just quickly swapping back and forth to top that off on various targets. And weapon swap in general is very nice. Down here, crack grenade's the best multi-utility grenade right now. Get rid of a crusher for free. Superiority complex, then we'll take field improvisation and serrated blade, as I talked about. This gives us a total of 6 stacks of bleed on a light attack. The cap for bleed stacks in the game is 16, so 3 light attacks, and they are capped, right? That is awesome. Then we will take Catch a Breath. Survivalist here, you could take any of the auras, but Survivalist is just the best one. It's just going to allow the whole team to sustain so much more ammo, especially on Havoc. Then Infiltrate with the 2 charges here. This is only 13 seconds of extra cooldown, which is closer to like 12 or 11 seconds if you take into account the cooldown reduction on the Curios. Very valuable to have an extra charge in there. So yeah, make certain that you are keeping track of your charges. Then we'll come down here and we'll take this melee damage boost. Reciprocity and Desperado, as you might figure, crits are very important. Not only do they boost our damage to our recon because of Infernus, but they boost our direct damage as well. And we'll have another reason down here for crit in a second. Desperado here, more crit and more melee finesse. Then we'll take Skirmisher, a very powerful buff, 25% base damage, which does apply to not only our direct damages, but to our bleeds and burns as well. And all you got to do to trigger this is just sprint for some amount of time. Now, also, you can get this refreshed by sliding. So just a slide like this, look how little stamina that takes. That refreshed a stack, right? That's all you got to do. Every 10 seconds, do that one time. Or you can do a backslide or a side slide, right? Whatever sliding you do will refresh it, or just sprinting for that amount of time. Like literally just do that. There you go. It's pretty easy to do this. Just make sure you're not finding yourself just standing still too much in combat. Do one of these every once in a while, and you'll keep that maxed out and you'll max your damage. Then down here, we've got Exploit Weakness. 20% all damage, not just the melee damage, but all damage, including bleeds and burns for 6 seconds when you get a melee crit. So if I'm doing my melees on this boss and I don't get a crit like that, so he has doing 232, now watch me get a crit. 276, right? Big increase in damage because of that crit. So yeah, getting a crit, pretty damn good. You want to make certain you're getting those pretty frequently, especially when you're going to maximize your damage on a boss. Then we'll take this toughness boost here and Onslaught, which is going to increase our damage against more armored targets. So crushers are typically the one that's going to get the best benefit out of this, but also bosses take a percentage increased damage from brittleness. It works on all targets, but more on the more armored types. And this is brittleness, so it applies to your team as well. So they'll thank you for having it. We aren't taking agile engagement here. Note this, by the way, because the bleeds and burns that we're going to be doing 90% of our kills with don't actually trigger this talent. So we get to pick up 25 flat toughness instead, which puts our total toughness at almost 250, which is crazy. Like, we are tanky as fuck on this somehow. Then we'll come over here and we'll take stamina boost, demolition team, tactical awareness, bring it down, toughness boost, and then bring it down, and then we'll take focus target. Now focus target has 2 nodes here, both focus fire and redirect fire. I believe every time you take focus target you should be taking both of these. Redirect fire is one of the best buffs you can provide to the whole team in the game. This gives the whole team, everybody in coherency, 15% damage the whole game long, because the way it works is if I get my stacks cash in like that, you see that 6 stack buff below my hexagon down there, if I get any other kill, whether or not it's 6 more stacks or even just like 1 more stack, it gives you a refresh on your stacks, and it can count up over time. So you can start with 1 stack, get 2 more, get 3 more, you'll be at 6, and then all you gotta do is tag 1 dude and kill him every 10 seconds, and you are keeping that buff cooking for the whole team. So that's really important. Plus, you can then put focus target on any target and get up to 30% additional damage on that target while the target lasts. So this is going to enable us to burn the shit out of bosses. And that is in combination with Infiltrate. I didn't mention Infiltrate and what it does just yet, but here, let's go back. So when you're in stealth, you get 25% movement speed for the duration, and you get all your toughness back when you activate it, of course. And when you come out of stealth, you suppress nearby enemies. Then, for the duration of stealth plus 8 seconds afterwards, 30% additional damage. So the best way to deal damage, say like to this Beast of Nurgle here, right? What I want to do is I want to make certain I have all of my buffs going and all my damage over time effects going at the same time. So let's think about this. I want to make certain that I'm getting my Recon Lasgun stacks to maximum. Then I'm going to get my bleed stacks up to maximum, and I'm going to hit the head a couple times to get Uncanny Strike stacked up so that all of my bleeds and burns start to do additional to that unyielding type. On the talents side of things, I will want to make certain that I have used Infiltrate in the last 8 seconds, or like that I'm using actively, so that I get that extra 30% buff from that. I'll want to make certain that I'm just doing a little bit of sprinting or sliding so that I'm getting an extra 25% base from that. Then I'll get a melee crit, so that's 20% there. I'll keep Onslaught at the maximum level because I'm going to shoot them for enough to apply Onslaught, so they're going to be taking extra from that. And I'll have killed a target who is max stacked with Focus Target, and then I'll apply a max stack focus target to our boss, and let's see what that looks like in practice. So I'm going to give them the 6 stacks. I'm going to get a little bit of a stacking on my skirmisher here. Okay, and so I'm almost ready, and then I'm going to kill them, and then I'm going to tag the boss up. I'm going to get the fire stacks on him. I'm going to do this. I'm going to stealth, and then I'm going to hit the head. Okay, so I mean, this is what the damage looks like. I say that's pretty respectable once you get it stacked up like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable damage. Yeah, so like that in practice, obviously, like, you know, that boss was just sitting there and taking it, but in practice, let's go ahead and like let them do their thing. I'll just do her like this, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and go stealth. I'll use a crack grenade here to stagger her, hitting for some melees, go back out here, spray some more recon, right? So really, really easy. Oh, I forgot to even have skirmisher stacked up. But really, really easy to get stacks piled up on these targets and just let them do the cooking themselves because, yeah, I mean, dots are amazing in this game. So you can take out most enemies without really even engaging with them, and of course you always have the stealth of being, or the safety of being able to stealth and get the fuck out of there and reposition and all that stuff. So yeah, have fun with it, guys. I think it's a really fun, energetic way to play. I love being super freaking fast with this thing. Look how fast this is. Almost 9 meters per second. Like, that's insane. Yeah, really, really insanely fast movement. But yeah, have fun, guys, and let me know what you think in the comments. See you next time. Mystery out. Bye-bye. Come from our left. Sheesh. Sheesh, we did it. I gotta rest him. In seconds, I can get him. Get him now. GG. That was nice, maybe.